It's not usually that we get such a blunt and, I guess, forward answer from the Bengals or anyone higher up in the Bengals. But Katie Blackburn, our vice president, went ahead and said it the best way possible. We haven't started. And she's referring to negotiation talks with Jamar Chase. Let's talk about it. So, clearly this offseason has been plagued with a couple problems. T. Higgins got franchise tagged, which is kind of what we expected. But then he requested a trade, and according to his side at least, and I want to go ahead and preface this his side, they haven't worked on a contract since last March, okay? That's a problem. They haven't worked on a contract since last March. There's no negotiations going through. And according to sources, Adam Schefter, T. Higgins is very disappointed that they haven't worked on a contract since last March. Now there's conversations about Jamar Chase. Well, maybe they aren't working on a contract because they're trying to get the contract done with Jamar Chase. Well, according to Katie Blackburn, not even Jamar Chase's club, they haven't even started. She continues and says that's sort of the next thing is just to put the piece together, some of those to consider and give it some thought. And like I said, I can't say for sure where any of it will go. But we certainly are going to study up on it and see what we can figure out and try to get to the best result we can for the club one way or another. And listen, okay? Chase's contract and T's contract are very expensive contracts, right? And I'm sure Jamar Chase, to a certain degree, right, doesn't want to get the contract done until Justin Jefferson gets paid. So a little bit of this might be reluctance on Chase's part as well, because we're thinking like, oh, wow, why don't you get a contract done? It's kind of like the quarterback market. You don't want to get paid until someone else gets paid. Because once the highest or best receiver gets paid, then Chase can say, okay, I want what he has plus $2 million or plus $3 million or whatever, right? I want to structure my contract like Justin Jefferson. But until Jefferson gets paid, you can't really, Chase is not going to sit here and say, yeah, I want this contract because there's no structure to go off of. He wants to be the top paid receiver in the NFL. So Justin Jefferson has to be paid first. Because if not, the Vikings are just going to give Justin Jefferson whatever Jamar Chase gets plus a couple million, right? And it's a huge thing to these players to be the top paid player at your said position. Offensive linemen are like the king of this. Trent Williams, when he got his new deal a couple years ago, he said that literally, he goes, I want $500,000 more than whatever the other top offensive line tackle at the time, whatever his contract is per year, I want $500,000 more. And you might say, well, isn't that kind of petty? Yeah, but that's important to these guys. They want to be known as the top paid at their position. So this is kind of where the dilemma we're in. So with Chase's contract, this doesn't really surprise me, so scare me as much. Because again, like I said, I think there is some reluctance on Chase's part here of, hey, listen, I want to wait until Justin Jefferson gets paid. There's plenty of time. We have the 5th-year option on Chase, whatever. On T's part, that will always surprise me / really scare the crap out of me because it's like, man, you're kind of giving me the vibes of, well, we tried last March and it didn't work out, and therefore, we give up. And you can't have that mentality. I mean, you can have that mentality, don't be wrong, but you're just going to end up losing the guy. Which again, we could always franchise tag him this year, pay him $21 million, next year $26 million, and a third year if we really wanted to, and pay him $35 million. So there always are opportunities or ways to get around it, and then if we wanted to, we could also tag and trade. So, but it is an interesting situation, I don't know how I feel about this because I guess in a little bit of me expected, okay, we're just going to get T's contract done, then Chase's, and then we're just going to kind of figure out the rest, right? And that was kind of the mentality. Get done these 2 contracts as soon as possible and then move on to the rest. But it seems like the Bengals aren't playing that game. They aren't playing ball like that. They are playing in the aspect of, kind of we're going to see what the future will hold, and we're not going to lock ourselves into anything right now. So instead of getting these contracts done, it's like, okay, well, we can franchise tag. They're kind of trying to use all their weapons to their, all their abilities. What's the mentality? They're trying to use all the options they can. That's what I'm trying to say. Where it's like, instead of just saying, okay, well, option A is sign him, option B is this, option C is this, option D is this, they're like, you know what? Let's just wait, and we'll figure it out eventually. And I think the best way to put it is exactly how Katie Blackburn put it here, which is, you know, what we will figure it out and try to get the best result we can for the club one way or another. And that's pretty much what this is. They're just kind of waiting and pushing the can down the road and saying, well, right now at this moment in time, we don't have to figure it out. And yeah, eventually it will become a problem. And we could figure it out right now, but let's just wait and see how this goes. It's an interesting perspective to go with. See you guys next one. Peace.